Hello, my name is Tanika Missouri, and I'm a second year doctoral student in clinical psychology at Cal Baptist University. Today I will be doing a mock therapy session on a couple named Rosario and Jose. They have come in because they're feeling distant in their marriage. They're in their late 50s, they're devout Catholics. Jose's had grew up in a supportive family, where his parents worked and took very good care of him. He had siblings, whereas Rosario, she grew up single, as a single child in her family, and didn't feel loved by her parents. Recently, Jose had issues in his business, and he feels like a failure, and he feels like she would feel like he was a failure. They're having failure to communicate, and when she is desiring more time with him and closeness with him, it comes off as nagging. So they go through this vicious cycle of back and forth blaming and shaming each other, and not really being able to communicate what they really need. So emotion focused couple therapy will help to identify the underlying issues, to identify the primary emotions, and to help the couple to soften the blaming and communicate more effectively, so that they can achieve their goal of having a better communication experience in marriage. So our goal for today, the presenting problem is relational distress, arguing and blaming, and the goal is stabilization. And in stabilization, we will assess and de-escalate the problem, identify the relational conflicts, and identify the attachment needs for that will break the cycle that's going back and forth between the partners. Hello, how are you guys doing today?
Okay.
You're doing okay?
Yeah.
My name is Tanika, and I'll be your therapist for today. So what brings you here?
Well, I am getting a little fed up, I guess, with Rosario just constantly coming after me. And, yeah. We've kind of reached like the worst point, I think. So.
How long have you guys been married?
Almost 25 years.
Almost 25 years. And you feel like she's been coming after you? Can you tell me what that feels like?
Annoying.
Annoying?
Yeah.
And coming after you, what does that look like for you?
Just always just wanting to be in the same place at the same time, and then I don't like doing that because I feel like anything that I do when we're together is she'll always find what's wrong with it, and just like tease out everything that's wrong. That anything I do is wrong, no matter what it is. So if I bring water, then she wants ice. If I bring ice, with the water, it's too much ice, or at that time she didn't want the ice. I don't know. It's just all the time.
So it sounds a little confusing for you. Like, it seems like whatever you try to give is not enough. Is that what you're saying?
It's not enough, or it's not the right way. Yeah.
Okay. And Rosario?
It just feels like things, like I'm alone in our marriage. That's probably the best way for me to put it.
You feel alone in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you feeling alone, and Jose, you're feeling nagging and feeling like you're not enough, what kind of goal would you like to set for this session today? What are you looking to get out of therapy?
Yeah, I think know, my hope is like for us to be able to be back on the team that we once were a long time ago. Because like he said, like it does feel like things are at its worst right now. So this is kind of our last ditch effort.
So right now, you're saying this is you're at your last straw, and you want to see if you can find a way to get back close and together in your marriage, so that you don't, end up in divorce or something like that. Okay. Okay, so usually in couples therapy, there's not a one accord. You guys kind of want the same thing. You guys want more closeness, more togetherness, but you're saying she's nagging you. What kind of things is she saying that you feel like is nagging you?
I feel like she's always observing what I do and how I do it, and just looking for ways to criticize and blame me for things. And then when I try to just spend time by myself and avoid, that situation, she's not stalking me or anything, but close enough. Always texting me to see where I'm at, locating me with her phone.
So you feels like she's just really clingy, like she needs to know where you're at all the time, and she's trying to locate you.
Yeah.
Through your.
And when we are together, I don't know how that's enjoyable for her either. I mean, it seems like she doesn't enjoy being with me at all, because it's always just criticizing everything I do. So yeah, I want to be close too, but we're close the right way, not bickering the whole time we're together. That doesn't make sense.
So you're saying it's not that you don't want to be close to her, but when you're close to her, it doesn't feel good to you. Like how does it feel? It feels.
I'm afraid to do anything.
So it gives you a sense of fear. Fear that.
That I'll do something wrong.
Feel that you'll do something wrong. Fear that you will fail.
Yeah, that I'll get something wrong with whatever. Yeah, with whatever I do, sure, yeah. That I'll fail.
That you'll fail. Fear that you fail. And what does that mean if you fail?
Well, that she'll be upset. She'll get angry or criticize me.
Has there ever been another time in your life where you felt like you were a failure? What was your life like growing up?
I've been fairly successful. Done my work, gotten my degrees, I've been okay. High expectations our home had high expectations all the time, our family. And usually we met them. Once or twice I didn't. Those times stand out, I suppose. For the most part, we were okay.
So, in your history with your family, you were okay. You were a very successful family growing up. You had the support of your family, but how about now?
With my family?
With your wife?
Well, thought we were doing okay. And then we just started escalating. I don't know, I'm sure I'm doing something wrong, but it just feels like I don't know why she started just finding everything that was wrong and pestering me and just kind of pushing me away with this attitude of I feel like I can't get anything right. So I'm trying to be responsible, I'm trying to do things the right way, I'm trying to support her. But it's just never enough.
Mm. Well, I'm listening to you right now, and it seems like there's a certain sadness that you're feeling, or frustration. What is that feeling that you're feeling right now as you're talking about your situation?
I'm definitely frustrated. I feel like I'm always coming up short. Frustrated. I'm sad that the relationship can't be better.
How about you, Rosaria?
What exactly?
How do you feel about what he just said? He feels like you're nagging, or you're too clingy, and he wants to give you what you need, but
Yeah, I feel like that's just his perspective on it, you know, the nagging, like, that hurts my feelings, because I just, like, want to spend time with my husband, and he just is, like, increasingly distant, and I feel like if I don't pursue it, if I don't, like, try to make time for us to do things together, then, like, the marriage is just gonna fall, because it doesn't feel like, feels like I'm the only person, like, who wants to be close, who's actually, like, fighting for the marriage.
so I see that there's like this fear for you too. It's like a fear of losing him. So because you're afraid of losing him, you're trying to do things to kind of keep him close or to get his attention. And so so then what happens when you're trying to talk to him?
Yeah, when I try, he just doesn't seem as interested, or he'll get, like, and I do get, like, pretty particular with, like, how I want things or things like that. But he'll get so flustered that it'll just be like, well, why am I even trying? You know, like, I'll plan, like, an outing or something for us, and it'll just be, like, it's so bad where I'm like, I don't know why I spent money and time on this for us.
Okay, so you'll plan things so that you guys can have closeness, and you'll schedule like events for for you and him to do together. And what happens? Like, describe to me, what does that look like to?
Yeah, so I'll, like, hear about something, or you know, search it online. I'll find something like a wine tasting, or like go to a sports event or something, and I'll tell him, and he'll be like, you know, like, iffy about it. I'll go ahead and book it, because I'm like, oh, maybe he'll come around. Well, like, when the day comes, he, like, agrees, but it feels like I'm pulling him there, and it's like I have all these expectations of, like, spending quality time with him, like, making new memories with him, and then we just end up, like, at best, it's like we're just, like, coexisting, and at worst, like, we're really frustrated with each other.
As you're talking, you seem so calm, so calm, like, as if it's not really that disturbing, but it sounds like you're saying it gets further than this, what you're experiencing now, like it gets out of control sometimes.
Yeah, it gets, like, I mean, he'll just get frustrated. Like, to his credit, he's never, like, super, super rude or anything like that. I've never been, like, afraid of him. But I'll just be alone, you know, so I think I've learned to just, like, be by myself. And I think maybe, like, the calm sound in my voice is just, like, I just feel pretty defeated at this point.
I feel like she's given up, and she's not talking much right now. Usually, I mean, it looks a lot different. It looks like a lot of anger coming from her toward me, and I just don't know how to respond. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I say I'm sorry. It's not for the moment that might fix things, but then yeah, she's always coming after me, and I don't know how to respond so that she'll be happy. I don't know what else to do. I mean, being responsible and trying to maintain the household, doing things around the house, being responsible, bringing in stable income, trying to bring in stable income as much as I can. But I mean, maybe that's what it is, you know, my business isn't going as well as it used to. Is that it? Is that why she's frustrated? I don't know.
He's the one who's pulled away since his business stuff. Like, all I want to do is talk about how his business stuff is going, and every time he just shuts me out. I don't know how it's supposed to be a marriage if he's just gonna shut me out of everything.
I want to keep talking about the business.
Okay, so what she's saying is that when she's trying to come close to you, you kind of shut her out because maybe you feel like he's frustrated with you when you're talking to him about the business. How does that feel to you? What is actually happening in that moment?
I feel like he's annoyed with me. Like I'm too much, or I'm like not enough, and so it's like I'm your wife. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do other than like want to be close to you.
Right. So you feel like your nature, it's natural that you should want to be close to him as his wife, and so you're talking to him, trying to get close to him, and then he's frustrated because you're bothering him. Or?
Yeah, that's what I'll act like, or like he'll just leave the room if I bring up the business.
I'm at work all day. I don't want to talk about the business when I get home.
How's the business going?
Well, like I said, not as well as it was before. I don't know. Before I used to have like a good, outlook on how it would be in a few years, and now I don't anymore. So that's frustrating.
What is frustrating?
Well, that the business isn't going well, and I'm concerned. I am concerned about it, and I need to process that. And processing it isn't about. I don't need to talk about it right now.
So you're saying that the business is having trouble right now and it's frustrating you, right?
Yeah.
And that frustration, how does it make you feel? There are some other deeper rooted feelings that you're feeling right now. Is it anger? Is it?
I'm disappointed that I'm not maintaining, my business.
And if the business is not maintained, then what does that mean for you?
It means that I'm not meeting my expectations for my life right now. That I guess that means that I'm failing, my family, not meeting their expectations either.
So it sounds like you're feeling like you're a failure because you had these intentions and these expectations by your family and for yourself that you weren't able to uphold. Sometimes that can be frustrating for you, and you can feel like a failure because you're not amounting to that, like maybe with your father, or maybe.
I mean, my father would be ashamed if he knew the way the business was going. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't talked to him about it. I'm not sure. I mean, is the business that important right now? I guess. Yeah, I'm afraid that it will fail because I don't know how I'll provide at that point. So I'm afraid of that happening, and the way that I process that is by thinking about my business and trying to problem solve, and not just sharing isn't easy. Sharing that with her isn't easy, and I thought that was easy to understand, but she doesn't. So why is that difficult to understand?
I'm wondering, Jose, if you're feeling ashamed. If the emotion that you're feeling is ashamed, you said that your father, you'll be ashamed if your father knew where you were, that your father would be ashamed of you. I'm wondering if that's something that you're feeling within yourself.
It could be. I feel like maybe I might think I'm afraid of my business really going under, because then I will really feel shame.
Mm-hmm. And what happens if you fail? Do you feel like you failed your marriage or your wife?
I feel like I yeah, obviously, if this only happened to me, and there are others that depend on me, so yeah.
Sounds like a lot of pain and a lot of frustration there. So Rosario, you said that you're looking for closeness with him, and you try to get that by nagging him or fussing at him or creating other ways where he's distant and he doesn't show up, and then it makes you more frustrated. Then you go back and try to get in close to him, and he withdraws because he's frustrated because of work. And then you come and you're arguing with him, and then he comes back and he's withdrawing from you even more because you're not connecting, because you have this deeper need to feel connected to him, right? And he has this deeper need to provide for you as your husband, right? And because he's not able to do that, it saddens him, and he feels explosive and angry and shameful, and it hurts you because it leaves you feeling unattended, unloved. Is that correct? Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
So we go through this cycle, this dance back and forth of trying to get a need met, right? And a lot of it's based on your upbringing, not having a sibling, or your children leaving the home, and you just kind of feel alone, like there's no one there for you right now, right? And you really just need him to be there for you. Can you understand what she's saying? She's not worried about the job. She needs you to be present with her and attend to her. Do you understand that?
Yeah, it's not easy to be present with her sometimes. I mean, pointing out every mistake even when they're not there, that's not easy to live with, to be in the presence of. But I guess I do understand that she's not as worried about the business. That's not why she asked. I guess I didn't think about that before.
Yeah. How does it feel to know that she just wants you?
It feels like sometimes I forget that with everything that happens when we're in the same room. I forget that. It's not what it looks like. On the surface, that's not what it looks like. Between both of us, I know it's not all her fault, but
How about you, Rosario? How does it feel to understand that he just wants to protect you and to provide for you and make sure you're taken care of and feel safe?
Yeah, it's something like I've never heard from him before, so it feels like very new and unsure. Like I do appreciate like all that he's done, and I think like hearing how hard it is for him with like the business stuff, and how like I don't care like to hear the numbers about the business, and like I'm never gonna see him as a failure. Like it's me wanting to know how he's feeling about the business, not how the business is doing. So yeah.
Okay. And how about your spirituality? It says that you guys are a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Does that play into how you guys feel right now?
Yeah, that was one thing that I think brought us together, like when we first started getting to know each other and then dating, was that we're both devout Catholics. I think what I've struggled with is like, because of where things are at with him, like we don't go together anymore, and it just feels like overall like God isn't blessing our marriage like he once was.
Wow. So you feel like maybe because of everything that's going on that even God maybe is not attending to you. He's not blessing your marriage. He's not present for you right now.
Yeah, similar to like how I feel with my husband.
Wow. That must feel painful or sad. Can you tell me a little bit about that deeper emotion you're feeling?
It just feels very lonely. Like it's just like a painful feeling that I felt like throughout my life. And so I feel it with my husband, and I feel it like from God, that like now it's like not looking out for like the most important relationship in my life right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because those are very big. Your spouse, you guys become one, and even in spirituality with God, you know, to not have both of those places kind of in sync, or when you're feeling vulnerable because you don't have that connection with God or with your husband, it could feel very lonely. I can see that. And it seems like it's a very sad place to be for you.
Yeah, it is.
You said painful. Can you talk about that a little bit deeper?
I just feel like very alone. Like my relationship with God, or like my relationship with my husband, like we're both like very important pieces of my life. And like when we first were married, and when we had our children, like it was so special. And it seems like both of these relationships were very like rewarding, and so it's really hard to go from that to like where it is now.
Right. And when I think about painful, I'm thinking about heart hurting, and are you often sad or crying, or how do you express those feelings and emotions?
Yeah, I cry a lot. Like I don't have that many people to talk to, so I'm usually just like by myself, or thinking, lost in my thoughts, that kind of thing.
So you don't have the support of your family? How about your children?
They don't live with us anymore, and they're pretty busy with like their own school and lives like that. So.
Wow. So you're still feeling separated again from your children, from your husband, from God, from your parents. Everyone's so busy, and no one's really there for you.
Yeah.
Right? How do you feel about hearing that? How does it sound and feel for you to hear that she feels like everyone's abandoned her?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. It's hard to see past just the anger and the constant bickering and criticizing. And I mean, she said that sometimes she's sad and that she cries. I mean, I don't see that. I see a much more just aggressive, just bugging me. I mean, I don't know what the right term is, but so I didn't know that.
But to know it now, how does it feel?
Well, I feel sorry that maybe I didn't see that when I should have, or that maybe it was there and I just didn't see it.
And so in lieu of understanding that her need, there was a deeper need behind or underneath her anger, it was feeling lonely and sad. And under his withdrawing from you and separating from you, he was feeling shame. It wasn't that he just didn't want to be with you. He wanted to love you, but didn't know how to love you with your anger and his shame, you know? So learning to communicate that. How does it feel now to be able to communicate the real issues that you guys were having? How did this moment in this session help? Do you feel like it was beneficial?
Well, at least it let me see another side of what's going on for her in certain times. It's hard to see that sometimes when all we do is fight. But it's interesting to see that, I suppose the loneliness is new, or from my perspective is new. I didn't know that.
And then understanding that, are you willing to spend more time and take the time to come to some of the things she plans so that you guys can grow closer?
Yeah, I think if we can improve, if I can see past the things that annoy me, then yeah, and if that's what it takes, sure.
So you're saying you're willing to do what it takes. You just want to be able to communicate better in the process. And how about you?
I think a lot of this stuff was like stuff I've like longed to hear, like his deeper feelings. But it is really hard, like to share like vulnerable pieces in here. It was difficult.
Do you feel that even though it was difficult to share in here, do you feel some type of relief or a greater understanding of him and his need to protect you and provide for you? And can you give him that space to do that as he grows closer and spends that extra time with you?
It's definitely something that I'm willing to work on.
Okay, well, I thank you for coming in today. And on our next session, we'll go deeper and talk more about some of the other aspects of your relationship. We can't cover everything in a day, right? This was just the first phase, but we're able to identify the problems and the emotions that are beyond what you physically see with your eye, but that each of your feelings are covering because you didn't know how to really have the language for it. But now we know the language and what you're dealing with within yourselves and between each other, that we can go a little bit further next time. Does that sound about right? That sounds good to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you.